Alright folks, this demo is on Revit Demo 6 and 7. I'm doing this on September 21st, so this be, if you missed September 20th or 21st, you missed this demo. Alright, go open up Revit here. So what you should have is you should have this. You should have, building, you should have the loggia, the cross gable roof, and so on. Alright. So we're going to start by putting your work onto sheets. I'm on page 57 in the book, and we're going to start over here where it says Sheets. We're going to right click and we're going to go to New Sheet. I'm going to load, and we're going to chase down English Imperial. We're going to chase down our title block. So the one you're going to look for is the D size title block. And so there's the D size title block, and hit OK. So what we have here is a big old piece of paper basically. It's 22 by 34 inches long, so it's really big. It's like, what, 6 times bigger than a regular piece of paper. All right. So inside there, I would like you to put your name, first name, last name. Of course, yours is not Bill Brown, it's something else. Project name, we're going to call this the 7-story. We'll see why later. 7-story nightmare. And then the name of this sheet is going to be exterior elevations. Okay. And then the sheet number's A101. So if you look at my time date stamp there, you look at the time there. I'm doing this demo here after school. It's 9:21 at 3:06 and how many seconds? Well, if I zoom in and out, nope, it's 3:06 and 37 seconds. But if I zoom in and out, nope, it's 3:06 and 41. So this time date stamp, when we print these things, we know exactly what time the print came out. So, you could say, we're working on the set of documents that are from 9:21 at 3 o'clock, not the ones that are, 9:17 at, 6:20 p.m. or something like that. We want to make sure we have the correct documents when we put them out in the field. All right. So let's go ahead and get some drawings on the paper. So I'm going to come over here to the elevations, and we're just going to left click on it and hold, left click and hold, let go, and then just place. We'll do the same thing with the north, left click and hold, let go, and place. And we'll do the same thing, like left click, hold, let go, and place. And then we'll do the same thing with the west. By the way, if you try to put on the drawing that you've already put on the sheet, it yells at you and says, "No, dummy, you've already done that. You've already placed it on a sheet." Okay, so you go, whoop, okay. All right. Some of you might not have exactly what I have here. For example, you might not have these dimensions here. I don't really want those dimensions here. You might have your level lines kind of farther out. Let me show you what to do with that. If I activate the view, right click, I'm just right clicking on the view there and activate the view. You can then see how it kind of turns darker. You can reach in and you can slide these things in and out. I'm kind of looking for these level lines to be kind of close to the building, but not right on it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete those 2 dimensions. All right, and then right click and deactivate the view. Now, you see the 4 elevations are on the sheet. What is the sheet number? And the sheet number is A101. If I go to the floor plan, you'll notice that these level lines, these elevations are on there. You know what? I need to change this. Let's go ahead and change this floor plan from 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. That'll make it bigger. I know it doesn't look bigger, but trust me, it's bigger. And we're going to move these little guys. I'm just going to move those a little closer to the drawing. Move. So they're not so far away because they're kind of hard to see that way. And also, it's going to be hard to fit them on the page later on. Now, you got to be careful on these little guys. If you pick on the little arrow in the front there, see that? That's where you're standing. So if I was to double click on that, it takes me to the elevation. You can see the windows and the roof and the loggia there. However, if I move that blue line, and then I double click, you'll notice that you don't see the windows anymore. It's almost like you're inside the building, which you literally are. So just be careful with the blue lines. They should be behind the building. So as you move those, just double check and make sure that's where they are. Good and good. Again, if they're not, if they're like this, then if you go to the view, right click, go to elevation view, you'll see that you don't see those back windows and stuff. But if I take that blue line, pull it behind the building, right click, go to view, then you can see, you know, the outside. Okay. So we have our elevation markers on. We have the elevations on the sheet. There is a kind of a system they use to number the drawings. It looks something like this. So floor plans are 200s, ceiling plans are 300s, roofs are 400s, exterior elevations, which we did, are 500s. So we are going to renumber this. We're going to call this A501, like that. Now, when I do that, and I go back to the level 1, you'll notice that these guys changed. So what this is basically saying, this little tag, is saying, yeah, go to sheet A501, and if you want to see this, go to detail 3. So I go, okay, let's go to 501. And let's look at detail 3. Oh, and there it is. That's the south elevation. So they're kind of live linked. All right. Next, I would like the view tags. That's what this thing is called. It's called a view tag. I would like it lined up with the building. So you can pick on them. See how it turns kind of blue? And see the move arrow there? And just kind of left click and hold. I'd like these lined up with the building. Now you'll notice this one's too long. See, that's going kind of far right there. I'd like that to be kind of right about here. So I'm going to pick in the viewport. When I pick in the viewport, you get this little bubble at the end. You can slide it back. Boom. In order to make the line, in order to move it, you just pick on it and move it. But in order to stretch it, you have to pick in the viewport. See the viewport? See, I'm kind of flashing on it. And then it gives you the little bubble, and you can slide it back. So I'd like you to do that with all 4. Kind of move that and line it up. Kind of like that. Just eyeball it. Pick it inside and drag it back. Again, line it up with the edge of the building. Same thing here. Line it up. And, whoops, missed it. And drag it back. So, you know, it's kind of tidy, if you will. I might move these a little bit more in the middle. You can line these up if you decide you want to. They line up with each other. I'm not really that worried about that. As long as you get the thing on the page, I'm okay with that. All right. So we've got our 4 exterior elevations on the sheet. I am on page 58. I'm done. 59. So I'm on page 59, just if you're following me in the book. I have one more sheet I would like to create. You'll notice, by the way, that we're in sheets here. We've got that sheet that we're on right now. I'd like to right-click, and let's do a new sheet. We're going to do the D size again. Okay. This one's going to be the floor plan. So I'm going to go ahead and call this floor plan L1 for level 1. You can know why it's level 1, because this is going to be a 7-story nightmare. So this thing's going to eventually be a 7-story building. So level 1. If I bring the Word document back, let's take a look at that. Oops, a little farther down. What would the floor plans be? Well, if you look at there, it's going to be a 200 series. So that floor plan is going to be numbered A201. All right, let's go ahead and drag that floor plan level 1. Obviously, it's going to be this one right here. Kind of drag it on, let it go. And it should be easily fit in there, easily, like that. Okay. You can take the view tag, like we did in the other one, just kind of get in there and line it up. Pick inside and line it up with the edge. Now, if your elevation markers are still too far out, you can right-click and activate the view, and you can move those. So like if it was way out here, you could move it in and get it kind of closer so it fits in the screen. And then right-click and deactivate. All right, so we have the floor plan on the sheet. This is where I saved as Revit Demo 6. Okay, so you might want to do that as you're watching this. I'm not going to, well, you know, I'll do that. I'll call it Revit Demo file, save as, project. I've already saved 6. I'm just going to call this Revit Demo 66, so I can confuse you. You just call it Revit Demo 6. Okay, I got one more thing I want to add to Revit Demo 6. We did a print of this, so this is what got turned in. So you should see the the stuff inside here. What I also did with the class is we put a 3D view in there. I'd like to see this loggia. It's a little tricky in there. I want to see it better. So we're going to create another 3D view that just looks at the loggia. And this is the way you're going to do it. You're going to right click on that 3D view. You're going to go to duplicate and duplicate. We're going to clone it. So basically we have 2 3D views. We have that one and that one. They look exactly the same. On the 3D copy, I'd like you to rename it. Right click rename to loggia view or something. Whoops, I didn't do that very well. Right click rename. Loggia view or something like that. View of loggia, that kind of thing, okay? All right. Then what I want you to do is I'd like you to just kind of use the navigation bar to give me a really good look at your loggia. I want to see this area over here and make sure that the wall is correct, and I want to make sure that you got the equal spacing and that the roof is the roof is shed and it's tucking underneath there. So I want a view that looks just like that. Really nice view of the loggia. Maybe even tilt just a little bit like that. Okay. Now you'll notice that the other 3D view is exactly the way it was. So we can make as many 3D views as we want. I would also like you to VH. I'd like to hide these level marks. So VH, view hide. Hide those. All right. And then what I want you to do is go to the floor plan and drag that loggia view. Put it right there in the corner like that. Now, this level marker here is not ideal, so we have to kind of fart around with this a little bit here. Let's take that and just kind of shorten it up a little bit, because I'd rather have that than to go through the picture. All right, so you're going to put the 3D view on the sheet, kind of like that. So then what we did is we printed it. This is what I collected and I graded for Revit Demo 6. Let me just say that one more time. And here's how we did it. Now you're not going to be able to do this from home. You'll have to do all this work and then come into class to print it, to physically print it. File, print. You're going to choose either the 750 or the 750 front. I kind of split it up in the class. And you're going to go to Properties. You're going to set the paper size to 11 by 17. I'm under Printing Shortcuts. And then you're going to go to Effects, and you're going to hit this little Print Document On button, just like that. Hit OK. And then you're going to go to Setup. Whoops. You're going to select Current Window. That's probably already selected for you. You're going to go to Setup. You're going to zoom. Now what's happened is we have this D-size paper was humongous, and we're going to be squishing it onto an 11 by 17 paper, which is smaller. So which means we're going to scale it down by 50%. So zoom 50%. We're going to center, verify that 11 by 17 and landscape are selected. They probably will be. And then change to raster. Hit OK. Say no. And then hit OK. And that's where you're going to print. I'm not going to print because then it'll print. Hit OK, and it'll send it to the printer. And then you're going to give me that hard copy. All right. So then we got into section views. I'm on page 61. So the idea with section views is we want to cut the building a different direction. We want to cut it kind of vertically. So here we go, level 1. So in preparation for that, I would like you to put in some windows. I've already got one here, but I'm going to have one right about there. If you don't have one down there, you can just pick a window. Oops, that's a door. Make sure that's not a door. That's a window. Yeah. Take another window. It doesn't really matter which one. Right click, create similar, and just plunk that in the wall right about here. Make sure the window is going outward. That would be wrong. This is wrong. This is right. That is right. Okay, and then what we did is we brought in some cars for the garage. I just want this to be there so we can, when we cut, we have something to cut. I went to Component, Place, Load Family, and let's find some cars. X Drive, Labs, Brown, Read Only. You're going to have this folder in here called Revit Families 4. This is where all my families are, the ones I've been collecting for the last 17 years or so. Just drag that into here. I've already done it. You can see mine right there. Just drag that folder in. You're going to want to use that a lot. But for now, you can just double click. If you're at home, that's not going to help you much because you're working off a different computer. When you get to class, you're going to want to do that. All right, I'm going to go to Entourage. And yeah, I've got some cars. I got a Corvette. I got a Ferrari. Got a Lamborghini, and in case you lost your license because you didn't behave, got a hand truck. Okay, get it, hand truck, car. Got an exercise bike, so in case so anyway, let's bring in a couple of cars. Let's bring in bring in a Ferrari. Why not? Ferrari. And bring in the Ferrari and kind of drop it in. There's my Ferrari. Show you what that looks like here in a second. Escape a couple times. Let's go back and do another one. So Component, Place, Load Family. How about, I like Corvettes. Let's do a Corvette. I have no idea if those are actually really red. That's just the graphics here. So I'm just going to plop that in. Okay. So once you get it in there, you see how both cars are kind of facing like they backed in. You can pick those and spacebar, 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 spacebar. That'll rotate it 90 degrees. So I'm just going to back the Corvette in, or make like it was pulled in. Now you also notice that they're kind of not really wanting to align to my door. So trick is you can come in and you can hit modify, and the align tool, which I think I've shown you a couple times, pick the door and then pick the car, and that lines them up. And do the same thing over here. Pick the door. I don't know if this one has one or not. I don't think this one really has a center, so we're just going to have to eyeball that one. So it depends on the way they model them. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we've got it all set. Let's go ahead and cut a section. So let's see. Let me just roll on here. I'm past page 62. I'm on page 63 if you're kind of keeping track here on the top. So we're going to create what's called a building section. It's basically a slice through the building vertically. We're going to go to View. We're going to go to Section, and then we're going to choose Building Section. That should be the default one. And you're just going to kind of click and slide your mouse across. And now watch the browser. Watch the browser over here when I finish. See how a brand new folder just got created called Building Section, and in there is the one we just created, Section 1. There's our cars. There's our crazy ceiling. The floors. I'm going to go ahead and set this to detail level medium so we can see all the details of our wall. That's actually not perfect, but that's all right. There's our ceiling. There's what's going on in the back over here. We have to talk about that. We see our cars and so on. See the windows that we pass through. There's that window. There's that other window. Okay, so it's called a building section. All right. You'll notice that there's stuff in the back. What is that? Let's take a look. So if I pick this little guy, see this little dotty box right here, the dotty box? That's called a crop box. Anything inside there is going to get picked. So for example, if I take that, right click and go to View, see how I'm picking off kind of part of the door, but not very much of it. It's part of the opening, not much of it. That's because that's where the crop box is. See where it is? It's just barely hitting the door. If I was to take that crop box and move it outward a little bit, and then right click and go to View, oops, pick it, right click, go to View, you'll notice I'm getting the entire door, the entire column, because I moved it out a little bit. All right. Here's what I want. I don't want that doing that. What I'd like is I'd like you to pull this back just a little bit, and then take a look at the view. Pick it, right click, and go to View. Notice we don't see the windows and the doors in the back anymore because they're not in the crop box. But we do still see the opening, but we're not seeing the door, right, because it's not getting picked. Back to the floor plan. Pick it. So the door's not getting picked. And I'm just going to drag that back really pretty far. So we're not getting anything in there. We're not getting any of the loggia or anything like that. Right click and go to view. So this is kind of what I'm looking for. You know, none of that crap off to the right side there. It's all nice, clean. It's basically this garage with the roof and the walls and the ceiling and all that stuff. And that is the kind of the purpose of that particular section. Okay, I'm just rolling along here. I'll talk about the crop boxes in a bit. All right, these crop boxes on the outside, see those right there? That crop box it's made to crop. So like I can take that and say, oh, you know, I don't want to see the Corvette. I just want to see the Ferrari. I want to see the Corvette and the Ferrari, but not the wall. You know, so you can do what you want with that. However, once we have it and we don't want to see that box on the outside, there's a button over here to hide crop region. It's basically just an on-off box. Just click, just clicking it. I like that off, okay, until we need it. Okay. All right. Next, we are going to create a new sheet. Oh, let me just show you something here first. Let's go back to level 1. So we got the line going through. That's the section. Notice we got the little dashes in there, right? So if I go to Sheets, right-click New Sheet, I'm going to create a new sheet. We're going to call that Building Sections. And building sections, I think those are an A500 series. We'll call it 501. Oh, cancel. I'm wrong. Building sections, what are they? They must be 600s. They are, yep, building sections are 600s. Exterior elevations are 500s, huh? Okay, so that said, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and call that A601. Perfect. Okay. Then we're going to take that section and we're going to drag it on the sheet. You can just kind of put like over here. Okay, let's go ahead and line up the section there. Like so. Now, if I go back to the floor plan, you'll notice that that got smart. So what I'd like you to do with that section, they have these things called cycle tails. It's this little kind of round thing there. If you pick on it, you can give it 3 different looks. A, B, C. A. I like it on A. So both sides kind of does the same thing, like that. We do have this line going through, however, and I'm not really that happy with that line. So if I pick on the line here, see that little squiggle right there? If you hit that, it'll break it, and then you can slide that out. And it's still going to work just fine, but then it doesn't, graphically, it doesn't go through our model and make it hard to look at. So if I go to this and go to the view, it's not going to split it. It's just that it's just graphic on that floor plan view. Okay, it still shows everything just fine. Okay, next, sorry, let me roll down here. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything. We're going to create a wall section. I'm on page 66. I'm at the wall section to kind of deal with this right here. We got kind of a mess there. You know, it's over here. It's where this roof hits this roof, and then there's a window there. It's a little complicated. And then, of course, we're working into the to the loggia. So let's make a wall section is what we're going to do here. It's not going through the whole building. It's just going through a portion of the building. We're going to go to View. We're going to go to Section. And I'm just going to have that section cut through. I'm going to start by cutting it this way, but eventually I'll go down further. I'm going to cut right through that window, pull that back so it's not hitting that 2-hour wall. And I would like to make that a wall section. Wall section. See how it changed graphically from a building. Now watch the browser to a wall. See the browser, what's happening? If I change this to a building, it puts it in building. But if I change it to a wall, it puts it in wall. So it's a way of organizing them. Okay. Let's go to that view. Oops, missed it. Pick it, right click, and go to view. Let's go ahead and set this to medium, and go ahead and make this like 1/2 inches a foot, which is a bigger scale. So you can see what's happening here. You know, we've got the wall, we've got the roof, we got this roof. This roof, this is not accurate, by the way. This roof would go through to the structural part of this wall. Right now, it's just kind of sitting. It's kind of sitting on the stucco, basically, which doesn't happen. This would go in more, you know, down in here somewhere. All right. So that's okay. Well, for now, we'll take that. But if your window is still high and it looks like this, you're going to probably need to fix it, right? Because then the window's hitting that roof. So pick that window. If you haven't done this, make this 8 feet so that it works. All right. The other thing I'd like to do is I like to see the loggia. So we can take that crop box. You'll see how the level lines move. See those levels? And something like that. So we can see the loggia. I don't care if it's open or not. It depends on where you cut it. Make that crop box go up a little bit. And then we're going to turn off the crop box. Right down there next to the sunglasses. Okay, I think it's time to put this on a sheet. So I would like you to go to building sections. And I would like you to put that on a sheet. Let's go ahead and put it on this one. I know we normally have another section for wall sections, but we'll do that. So now, if I go back to the floor plan, you'll see that that has a home. Problem with that is that this section view, we've got the bubble inside the house, which I might have furniture and stuff here, so I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it. I'm going to change the cycle tail so it's there, and then change this cycle tail so it's a line. That's a little easier. And then graphically, you know, we move this out of the way a little bit so they're not running into each other, and you're good. This thing won't print, by the way. This little plan region will not print. I guess ideally we'd probably take that and move it down to like here, so we're intimating that we're going through the loggia as well. You can see the crop box of what we're looking for right there. Okay, let's see, where did we leave off? I think we did pretty good there. Just looking at the sheets there, we put it on a sheet. Good, sorry. So that would be Revit Demo 7. So file, save as, project. And this is where you're going to save it as Revit Demo 7. I'm going to call it 77 because I'm writing over the top of this. And I did a little bit more with different classes depending on which class you're in. I like that number. All right. So let's go ahead and just do the first part. I just started by putting in a little furniture. Architecture, component, place, load family. So we're going to go to English Imperial. We're just going to put in, this is a bedroom that we're working with. We're going to go to furniture and beds. So I've got a bed box and a bunk bed and a hospital bed and a shaker bed and a standard bed and a crib. I want the standard bed. Open. So the one I'm looking for, you know, out of these that came in, I'm going to go ahead and grab the king. Bring it in. Space bar, space bar, space bar, space bar. I'm going to go ahead and drop that like right up here, like so. Hit escape a couple times. And then right next to the bed, we're going to go ahead and put in some nightstands. Load family. Let's go back one here to furniture and tables and nightstand. So for now, just go ahead and drop a couple of nightstands in. Boom. I think I'm going to stop the demo. That's kind of pretty much where we are. You are going to need to print out that sheet the way I showed you, right? It was like after Revit Demo 6, and I graded that as a class. So I'll be looking at things like your loggia and the openings and the roof, kind of like I talked about earlier. And then you should be at this spot when you walk in the door on Wednesday. All right, that is the demo.